Coronation Street's Betsy Swain is discharged from hospital next week as she continues to recover from her stroke. While Lisa and Carla Connor Swain are pleased to have their girl home, can they keep Betsy's spirits up as she faces an uncertain future, while also coping with tension in their marriage? The stroke has been a life-changing experience for Betsy, explains our Corey insider. And not just for her, but for the whole family. Leaving hospital might be a milestone, but now Betsy must confront the reality of how this will affect her in the long term. She has a long, hard journey ahead. With daily tasks becoming increasingly difficult, Betsy is scared of the stroke's potential long-term effects. Roy Cropper visits her in hospital and helps the teen to work on her compromised language and communication abilities. Carla hopes he has boosted her confidence and gives Betsy the news that doctors reckon she's ready to come home. Instead of excitement, Betsy explains that she's fearful of leaving the ward and managing her recovery without medical staff on hand. Meanwhile, Lisa is uneasy when Carla visits Sarah Platt in prison. Having your wife support someone you've sent down for murder doesn't reflect well on the detective sergeant, and she worries about the personal and professional clash this could cause. The day then finally comes for Betsy to return to the street, and she's a bag of nerves. Doctors have told her they are hopeful she will recover, but it will take time and there will be a lot of rehab and physio. There's also the risk she may suffer more strokes in the meantime, having already had two so close together. Helping her fragile daughter into the house, Lisa shows Betsy the bed they've made up for her in the lounge so she doesn't have to tackle the stairs while she recuperates. Betsy is touched by the gesture, but it's another reminder her mobility may never be the same again. Despite her mom, Carla, Ryan, and Roy's attempts at giving her positive vibes, Betsy is left thoughtful and makes a big decision. Lisa is taken aback when Betsy tells her she's not moving to London anymore, continues our Snoop. With her health so up in the air, Betsy feels like it's not the right time to start her fashion course at college. She just doesn't feel up to it, and Lisa and Carla are heartbroken to see her so down. Does Betsy plan to temporarily postpone her studies, or is her London dream permanently over? What does the future hold for her troubled relationship with Dylan Wilson, who still blames himself for causing her condition? And can Swarla cope with their latest family drama? Coronation Street is preparing another emotional chapter as Betsy Swain faces one of the toughest decisions of her young life. With the aftermath of a devastating stroke continuing to affect those closest to her, Betsy finds herself carrying a burden that no teenager should ever have to bear. As tensions rise and emotions overflow, her latest decision could change everything for her family, and leave viewers reaching for the tissues. For weeks, Weatherfield has watched the devastating consequences of the medical emergency unfold. Recovery has proven far from straightforward, with every small improvement followed by another difficult setback. The emotional strain has touched everyone involved, particularly Betsy, who has struggled to hide just how deeply the situation has affected her. At first, Betsy tried to stay positive. She encouraged her loved ones, offered support whenever she could, and convinced herself that everything would eventually return to normal. But as reality set in, she began to realize that some lives are changed forever by a single moment. Those closest to her quickly noticed the difference. Instead of her usual confident personality, Betsy became quieter and more withdrawn. Friends wondered why she kept canceling plans, while family members assumed she was simply exhausted from the stress. In truth, she was wrestling with a painful question: should she sacrifice her own future to help the people she loves? The answer, in Betsy's eyes, became painfully clear. In emotional scenes, Betsy makes the heartbreaking decision to put her own ambitions on hold. Rather than focusing on school, friendships, and the opportunities that should define her teenage years, she chooses to stay close to home and help care for her recovering loved one. It's a decision made entirely out of love, but one that comes with enormous consequences. Lisa Swain is among the first to realize what Betsy is planning. Although she understands her daughter's good intentions, she refuses to let Betsy throw away her future because of circumstances beyond anyone's control. Lisa reminds Betsy that recovery is a marathon, not a sprint. Caring for someone after a stroke requires an entire support network, and she doesn't want her daughter carrying responsibilities that should never fall on her shoulders. But Betsy isn't easily persuaded. Feeling guilty every time she leaves the hospital or spends time with friends, she believes the only right thing to do is remain by her family's side. Her determination creates emotional conflict, as loved ones struggle to convince her that life must continue even during difficult times. The storyline explores an issue that many families face following serious illness. Recovery affects not only the patient but also everyone around them. Children and teenagers often feel pressure to grow up overnight, taking on responsibilities while trying to process their own emotions. Coronation Street handles these themes with sensitivity, showing that emotional wounds can be just as significant as physical ones. As Betsy's decision becomes known, the reactions around Weatherfield are mixed. Some neighbors admire her maturity and selflessness, praising her willingness to put family first. Others worry she is making a choice she'll later regret, fearing she is sacrificing experiences she can never get back. Even Betsy herself begins to question whether she's doing the right thing. Late at night, away from everyone else, she admits she's frightened. She's terrified that if she steps away, something terrible could happen. The fear of losing someone she loves has become impossible to ignore, driving every decision she makes. These vulnerable moments reveal a side of Betsy rarely seen before. Behind her brave face is a young woman overwhelmed by anxiety, guilt, and uncertainty. Meanwhile, doctors continue to stress that recovery cannot be rushed. There are encouraging signs, but progress remains unpredictable. Some days bring hope, while others remind everyone just how challenging rehabilitation can be. The uncertainty leaves the entire family emotionally drained. Lisa continues trying to reassure Betsy that she deserves to live her own life. She insists that supporting someone doesn't mean giving up every dream or opportunity. Her words eventually begin to sink in. Friends also rally around Betsy, refusing to let her face everything alone. They remind her that asking for help isn't weakness, it's one of the strongest things a person can do. Their support offers Betsy something she desperately needs, permission to admit she's struggling. As the storyline develops, viewers will see Betsy gradually understand that caring for someone also means caring for herself. Burnout helps no one, and love shouldn't come at the cost of losing your own identity. Even so, making that realization proves far easier than acting on it. Every visit to the hospital, every difficult conversation, and every reminder of how life has changed pulls Betsy back toward her heartbreaking decision. Will she finally accept that she can't carry the weight of her family's future alone? Or will guilt continue pushing her to sacrifice everything for the people she loves? The answers promise more emotional scenes in the weeks ahead. Fans have already praised the storyline for highlighting the often overlooked impact that strokes have on entire families, not just the person experiencing the medical emergency. By focusing on Betsy's emotional journey, Coronation Street shines a light on the invisible pressures many young carers experience every day. Rather than relying on dramatic twists alone, the story finds its strength in quiet moments of honesty, difficult conversations, and realistic emotions. Whether Betsy ultimately changes her mind or sticks to her heartbreaking decision, one thing is certain: this storyline is set to leave a lasting impact on Weatherfield. As hope and heartbreak continue to exist side by side, viewers can expect more powerful performances, emotional family moments, and difficult choices that remind everyone just how precious and fragile life can be. For Betsy, the road ahead remains uncertain. But with the support of those who love her, there is still hope that she can find a way to help her family without losing herself in the process. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Coronation.